Hello everyone, this is Daily Developing. How are you doing? In previous lesson we learned arrays, right, and how to print out each of these elements. In this tutorial I want to teach you how to print out how to find the element that's the largest. I want to find the smallest element and also sum up all these numbers. Okay, so first let's start by finding the largest element. Let's create an integer max. So I want this max to contain the largest element from this array. How do we do it? First, let's make max equals to g of 0. Okay, so we have to start from somewhere, right? Let's just say that 0th, or first element is the largest one. I know it's not, but computer has to start from somewhere. Now what do we do? For int I equals 1, not 0, because we already did 0. I is less than 7, I plus plus. What we're gonna do here is if max is less than g of I, then max equals g of I. So what this is gonna do is first say that 3 is the largest number, and then it's gonna go through all the other numbers. It's gonna go from 1 to 6, every single one of these numbers. First I is 1, right? So it'll ask max, in this case max is 3. Is 3 less than 2? Nope. Continue loop. It's gonna go to I equals 2, right? Because I plus plus. I is 2. Is 3 less than 9? Hell yeah. So max is 9. Max is g of 2. And then it's gonna continue. Now I will become 3. Is 9 less than 0? Nope. Is 5 less than 0? Nope. Nope. No. Okay, so max will be 9. Now if we're gonna let's say see out max and see if we did everything right, let's print out max. It should give us 9, and yep, it certainly did. Okay, so now I want to write how to find the minimum value. You can try it on your own. First I want you to rewrite this max code. I want you to understand this, and also pause the video and try to find the minimum value. Can you rewrite this code in a way that it's going to find the minimum, the smallest element from this array? Okay, so I'm going to explain this in 2, 1, go. All right, so first, how would we find the smallest element? We will create int min. Again, say g of 0. Let's say first element is 0. Let's remove this. Okay, and create for int I equals 1. I is less than 7. Of course, go through each of these elements and say if, but in this time, if minimum is more than g of I. Well, if there is an element that's smaller than minimum, that means this element is smaller, right? So minimum equals g of I. Okay, because if g of I is smaller, then that's what minimum should equal to. And this way it's gonna go through each element and assign and minimum should be the smallest element. Okay, now if we're gonna see out, it should print 0. Yeah, because 0 is the smallest element. So let's run it and see what it gives. So yeah, it gave us 0. Let me walk you through this again. So first I said the minimum is the, let's just start. We have to start from somewhere, right? I picked the first element, or for computer it's the 0th element, and so this is the minimum. Now I'm running from 1 to the last element, right? 1 to 6. And I said at first, okay, so 3. Is 3 more than 2? Yeah. So in this case, minimum equals 2. Next, I plus plus. Is 2, because now the minimum is 2. All right. Now, is 2 more than 9? No. Next. Is 0 more than 2? Yes. So now minimum is 0. And then 5, 3, 2, none of them are less than 0. So minimum will remain, and it's going to give us 0. So this is how you're going to write, this is how the way how to write, find the largest and smallest element. So now I want to write a way how you can sum up every single value in this array. So let's create a variable, and I'll call it sum equals 0, right? let's start from, okay, no, we have to start from 0. We haven't summed anything up yet. And then create a for loop. For int I equals 0, I is less than 7, I plus plus. And sum equals sum plus g of I. Okay, so you might be confused a little bit on now how can sum equal sum plus g of I, right? This makes no sense. Now, if you're gonna look at from what, like, and you have to understand the computers see this math a little bit differently, okay? So normally what you would do is you're probably going to subtract sum from both sides, right? You know, you would do things like that, but that's not how computer really works. So what computer would do, let's say sum is 0 and g is 2. What it would do is if sum is 0, it's just going to do 0 plus 2. And so now it's going to say sum equals 2. And assign new value to sum, okay? It's not gonna, it's not going to do like, okay, sum is 0, so 0 equals 0 plus 2 and say it's undefined or anything. No. It's first going to calculate the right side and assign whatever it's gonna calculate to the left side. So this is what happened here. Sum is 0, we first added 2, or actually first value is 3. So we can say 3 here. So it's gonna calculate sum is 0, the right side is 3, so sum equals 3. Now sum has a new value. Okay, this is how computers calculate this, and this is how it'll be done. Okay, so now let's continue, right? What it would do is first sum is 0, then it's sum plus 3. Okay, now sum is 3. Next, 3 plus 2, right? 5 plus 9, 14, and so on and on and on. It would keep adding elements. Now if we're gonna see out sum, we can see the answer, and the answer is 24. Yeah, if you're gonna sum all of them up, it's gonna equal to 24. Also, how you don't have to actually write all the time sum equals sum plus g of I, right? Because like let's say you have x equals 5. If you want to say int x equals x plus 3, this is the way how you can add 3 to x. So it's going to take x as 5 plus 3 is 8, right? But it's kind of boring to always write like x equals x, oh sorry, not int sorry, but it's kind of boring, right, to write it this way, equals x plus 3, x equals x plus 4, right? There's a shortcut here that you can use, and that is plus equals. So what this does is, let's say sum is 0 and g of I is 3. It's just going to add 3 to sum. Now sum is 3. Then it's going to add 2. Then it's going to add 9. Then it's going to add 0, and so on. This is how it's done. Plus equals. We also have, of course, minus equals, which just subtracts g of I from sum. So if sum is 5 and g of I is 3, it's going to make sum equal to 2. We have also multiplication equals and division equals. All of that works. But in this case, we want to sum all the answers up, add them all up, so I'm going to use plus symbol. If we're going to run, it's going to give us same exact 24. Nothing has changed because sum plus equals g of I is the same thing as sum equals sum plus g of I. All right, so now I want you to rewrite this code, of course, again, understand how it works, and then write a code that calculates the product of all these values. Can you multiply them all together? So pause the video and write that program. Okay, so here's the answer, how you do it. Let's rename this to product, right? And then product times equals to sum. But you have to be careful here, because if product is 0, 0 times 3 will give you 0, times 2, 0, right? If product cannot equal, oh sorry, product, if product is 0, anything multiplied by 0 will be 0. So now if we're gonna run it, it's not gonna work, right? It's just gonna give us 0. So for that reason, we have to make it equal to 1. 1, it's not gonna change the answer, right? Because anything times 1, you can multiply anything by 1. It's not changing the answer. And now if we're gonna run it, we'll see the actual answer. Oh, right. it'll give us, at this time it's going to give us 0 because there is this 0 value here, right? It's going to multiply it by 0, and that's why it's going to give you 0. Okay, but let's change this 0 to, let's say, 1. Now it's going to give us a different answer. Now it's going to give us an actual answer. Yeah. So this is how you're going to calculate the product, how you can calculate the sum, and this is generally how you work with arrays. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe and smash that like button. Okay, have a nice day.